For decades, science fiction and gaming media have laid out the cybernetic power of the future. Practical effects in movies like Terminator, or game characters like Adam Jensen or Snake from Metal Gear, machine advancing over flesh has been a theme through time. How far off are these mechanical advancements though? It seems with the current progress of today, advanced augmentation might not be too far off. To gain an appreciation for this though, we have to look at the past. Prosthetics began in Egypt, around 300 BC. They were not really functional however, the purpose mostly to complete a body before mummification so the body would be whole in the afterlife. Some though, were made to be functional. A bronze leg with a wooden core was dated then, made for below than the amputee. This time period stretched to about 1 BC. Herodotus, a Greek historian, wrote of a Persian seer who was condemned to death, but escaped with his life by amputating his own foot and making a wooden filler to walk 30 miles to the next town. Someone else, a Roman general who had his right arm amputated, fashioned an iron hand to hold a shield so he could return to battle. So, we can already see how things have advanced from a leather filler. This also shows that the need for prosthetics has pretty much always been there. 476 to about 1000 the hook and peg leg came about. Thinking of this, most people have pirates come to mind, which to be fair it wasn't uncommon for sailors, but they were really for hiding deformities or injuries from battle. Knights would be fitted with something to hold them in a saddle, or a hand for a shield, rather than functionality. Prosthetics at this point were really just to fill what wasn't there to give a sense of wholeness, without any real progress. Though it wasn't uncommon to see, only the wealthy could actually acquire a real prosthetic. Artificial limbs became something tradesmen often made and carried, working with watchmakers to make them intricate with gears and springs. The Renaissance, dated from about 1400 to the 1800s, had prosthetics more focused on the arts. They recreated them to be more visually pleasing, though functionality was still left out of the equation. From this time, limbs were made mostly from iron, steel, copper, and wood, which were heavy and painful to wear, as pretty much all prosthetics were up to this time. Mid to late 1500s, French army barber/surgeon Ambroise Paré is considered by many to be the father of modern amputation surgery and prosthetic design. He was the first to introduce modern amputation procedures to the medical community, and redefined prosthesis for upper and lower body amputees. He invented a device that could bend, a kneeling peg leg and foot prosthetic that had a fixed position, adjustable harness, knee lock control and other features that are used to this day. His work showed the first understanding on how a prosthetic should function. A colleague at Paré, Laurent, who was a French locksmith, contributed to the field when he used leather, paper and glue in place of metals when making prosthetics to lighten them considerably. Skipping ahead to around the 17th to 19th centuries, prosthetics continued to improve. In 1696, Peter Verdun developed the first non-locking below-knee prosthesis, which would later become the base for current joint and cassette devices. In the 1800s, Londoner James Potts made the prosthetic out of a wooden shank and socket, a steel knee joint and articulated foot that was controlled by catgut tendons from the knee to the ankle and was named the Anglesey leg. Later then, in 1839, it was brought to the US and renamed the Selfo leg. 1843, Sir James Syme discovered a method of ankle amputation that did not involve amputating at the thigh. This was a huge excitement among the amputee community, because it offered the hope of walking with a new foot, rather than a whole leg. To explain, previously amputations were messy and common. Whether it be disease, or war that had the limb lost, they would just chop the limb off because that was the better option when faced with the decision. Going on, for the next several years, individuals took it upon themselves to make or improve on what existed. For example, in 1846, Benjamin Palmer improved the Selfo leg by adding an anterior spring, smooth appearance, and concealed tendons to simulate natural-looking movement. 1858, Douglas Bly invented and patented the Dr. Bly's anatomical leg. Du Bois-Parmelee in 1863 created an advanced prosthetic with the suction socket, polycentric knee and a multi-articulated foot. Gustav Hermann suggested in 1868 the use of aluminium instead of steel to make them lighter and more functional. This didn't come till 1912 however, when Marcel Desautres lost his leg in an airplane accident and made the first aluminum prosthesis with his brother Charles, an engineer. The Civil War was a time when the number of amputees rose astronomically, forcing Americans to re-enter the field of prosthetics when before it was put near the bottom of the priority list because it didn't affect the general mass. During the Civil War, 70% of the wounds resulted in amputation. It became the most popular treatment in field surgery because it was easier, faster, and 28% safer than other options. More than 30,000 Union soldiers and 40,000 Confederate soldiers lost limbs between 1861 and 1865. Most prosthetics were so bad at that time, amputees preferred crutches. It was the first time people really spoke up about the problems with current prosthetics, giving way to military-funded programs to skyrocket the prosthetic advancement for veterans. So, with work the functionality improved exponentially during this time. James Hanger was one of the key inventors of that time, and created the hanger limb from whittled barrel staves. Selfo, Hanger, Palmer, and A. Marks helped boost and transform the prosthetic field with refinements in mechanisms and materials of the devices of that time. In World War I not many breakthroughs were made, but the Surgeon General of the Army formed the American Orthotic and Prosthetic Association. Veterans were dissatisfied with their prosthetics and demanded advancements, so the government made a deal with the military to improve prosthetic function. This was a gateway to the development and production of modern prosthetics. Today, prosthetics are made from much lighter plastics, aluminium, and composite materials to provide amputees with the most functional devices available. Microprocessors, computer chips, and robotics are integrated to further improve an amputee's life. Some even have touch, a wired nervous system to give a more lifelike link to the user. Prosthetics used to be a thing people wanted to hide, but as things are advancing so is people's confidence.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude!
Touch-sensitive gloves are now made to be customized, arms are custom-made to be like superheroes.
Before the gift, one last question.
You know who that is?
Iron Man.
Iron Man, and both of them put on those arms.
God, dude, it's even cooler than I thought. Oh, look at that, dude. It's a marriage of robotic technologies.
As life continues to adapt to its hardships, technology grows more integrated with the human body.
Bionics entails the engineering of extreme interfaces. There's 3 extreme interfaces in my bionic limbs. Mechanical, how my limbs are attached to my biological body. Dynamic, how they move like flesh and bone. And electrical, how they communicate with my nervous system.
The value of closely respecting the biophysics is that when we fit this prosthesis to a human body, there's often no training, because the human body remembers how to walk.
Oh my God, I can't believe it! It's just like I've got a real leg!
That's the value of this biomimetic design approach.
What it was like before having this hand, or like having like any hand, it was pretty hard. Once I had this hand, my friends would ask, "Hey dude, how's it going? Like, has like anything changed with it? Is it working better?" And like it's pretty cool how they're like actually like involved. They're actually like talking to me about it. And like I love this because like I could pick up stuff and I could help. I think it's pretty cool that I'm one of the people actually like testing this out for like a bunch of other people. It's gonna be really awesome to see it when it's so big. Like every kid that has a problem like me will have a hand